Hello, my name is Eduardo Teles and my partner, Campos. In this presentation, we will talk about the Coniston Massacre, one of the worst events in Aboriginal societies. When we are talking about Coniston Massacre, we should recognize that this event represented the relationship between Aboriginal people and non-Aboriginal people. When Europeans arrived in Australian territory during the 19th century, a shock between two different cultures occurred. The different worldviews between Europeans and Aboriginal people generate some conflicts and death. Today, in the 21st century, a lot of this difference is still being represented in Australian society. Aboriginal people are recognized by a singular way of life. For them, land and nature represent sacred aspects that have been created by their ancestors, which are represented by the dreaming. Aboriginal people consider themselves belonging to the land, a part of that. On the other hand, the European or Western vision is different about it. The land is an aspect to serve them, like for food production, water extraction, a site to build a house, and for commercial purpose. Moreover, in European society, the sacred and their beliefs come from religions, different of what occurred in Aboriginal society. When Europeans arrived in Australia, a shock between these different cultures generates some consequences and effects. Aboriginal people did not accept how Europeans were behaving. The missionaries were a good example of that. Many of them came to Australia to start a Christian process in native people. Some results shows it was an abusive and unrespectable action of Europeans on Aboriginal people, as you can read in this brief passage written by Matthews in 1899, some years before the Coniston Massacre. So, he wrote, "By judicious and firm action, I then locked the store door, refusing the food unless they obeyed. After a few days of conference and empty stomachs, a deputation waited upon me with the information that they were willing to get married." Moreover, Europeans were using the land to extract things in a different level that Aboriginal people used to do, and allowed their survival. These actions generate many events like Coniston Massacre. Coniston Massacre showed most of this difficult relationship between Europeans and Aboriginal people. Despite of different visions and stories about how Coniston Massacre would have occurred, all ideas and facts refer to the arduous and hard connection between them. The Coniston Massacre occurred in 1928. It took place over a wide area of Central Australia, specifically in a region up of northwest of Alice Springs. The red dots on the map are identified by boards of inquiry as places where killing occurred, and blue dots are places recognized by Aboriginal people as places where other killings occurred. It is known as Coniston Massacre, the event that had killed 31 Aboriginal people. This number of killed people is the official number, although some histories of Aboriginal people indicate that the number of killed people was a lot higher. The Coniston Massacre sparked because of the murder of Frederick Brooks, a dingo trapper, in 1928. Frederick was murdered by an Aboriginal man called Bullfrog Japananka. There are some theories about his murder. One of them, it was told by survivors and Brooks' descendants that Bullfrog's wife was living with Brooks, which frustrated Bullfrog and led him killing Brooks. However, another theory told by Rosie Nungurari, Bullfrog's granddaughter, says, "At Yukuru, my grandfather killed a white fella. He hit the white fella because the white fella stole his wife. In Wapiri society, violation of marriage law were considered capital crimes." Brooks' murder was investigated by a police party led by George Murray and also by some Aboriginal trackers. During this investigation, 31 Aboriginal people were killed and some arrested. Some groups, including church groups, was called for an inquiry to investigate these murder events. This inquiry was called by the Board of Inquiry. It was established on 27th of November 1928. Its role was to investigate if the 31 killings were justified and if Brooks' attack was provoked. It was concluded on January 18, 1929, after hearing evidence from 30 witnesses. There was no evidence that the police party was a punitive expedition and no evidence of any starvation of Aborigines. The Board of Inquiry faced some criticism. Firstly, because there are some satisfactorily represent of an Aboriginal people. Therefore, the board did not give any proof from Aboriginal people. In addition, the board also ignored a report from Central Australian government, which said that the region was a severe drought and the Aboriginal people were starving. Other discrepancies are also related. One is related to Murray. He stated in his report names of 20 Aboriginal men who were involved in Brooks' murder, but he did not write down these names. Therefore, the board did not question this. The major was also criticized because he had identified murders even though he was not in the scene to make sure about what happened. In 2003, was built a memorial to remember those who were killed in the Coniston Massacre. This memorial brought a very important meaning, as Aboriginal people and family members of Murray were together in this occasion. Lisa Dale, Murray's great-niece, came to the memorial and read a statement that she reflected by what happened in these lands, feeling sorry and also connected to all Aboriginal people. It was built a memorial plaque by Kaitetia and Walpiri descendants of people who were shot at this place in respect to all people were killed, Frederick Brooks and many innocent Aboriginal people. It says, "We will remember them always." Thanks for your attention. And in this screen, we show some references and the figures.